2024 has been an insane year for death metal. It is the year of death metal. The other years, some more heavy on the black metal, some more heavy on the doom. This year, 100% death metal has been the kings. And we're going to discuss all the great releases and my top 10 death metal albums of the year so far. It's not quite the end of the year, there's 2 more months left, but I really had an urge to talk about death metal, so let's do it. Now, I have some honourable mentions. I have 7 honourable mentions and then another 4, which kind of flirt the line: death metal, symphonic death, melodic death, those kind of sub-genres within death metal. So let's kick off with those ones first. Fleshgod Apocalypse's Opera. That's right. Symphonic death metal masters. This is a catchy album. Blood Clock. Ooh, yeah, just symphonic, bombastic. The female vocals are great. Love it from start to finish. Wintersun's Time 2. I enjoyed it a lot. A lot of people would have it in the end of the year list. I enjoyed it a lot, but there was one that beat it for me, but it's still a great album. A little over-polished for me, but ensifferum's Winterstorm came out, and I really loved that. Similar kind of style, more on the pagan kind of Viking style, which I like a bit more. And it's just, the songs are so catchy. Fatherland has been stuck in my head since it came out. Even some black metal segments in some of the songs, I love it. It's like a mix of heavy power and melodic death, all mixed into one. Great stuff. And Far Beyond the End of My Road. Long songs, epic, just takes you to another dimension. Another great melodic death metal album. So now let's do some of the other purely death metal album recommendations. And the first one is 200 Stab Wounds with Manual Manic Procedures. I have to look at the text because I can never remember that. Manual Manic Procedures. It's a tongue twister. This is some gnarly, just in your face, chugga chugga, brutal death metal. I say brutal as in it's heavy, not as in it's in the category of brutal death metal. You know what I mean? Questy's tongue-tied. But yeah, really good stuff. Love it, but it didn't quite make the top 10. Next up, Deicide's Banished by Sin. Yes, the art is AI. Blah, blah, blah. Don't care. The music's great. Deicide doesn't really miss that often. There's a couple of albums which are kind of but this one, really good one. Solid effort. Job for a Cowboy, Moon Healer. Wow, shocker, it's not my top 10. I love it. The melodies throughout are fantastic. This is the very first Job for a Cowboy album I've ever heard. And it was really, it took me by surprise. I thought they were deathcore. But no, melodic death, and this was just fantastic. It was heavy. I really enjoyed it, actually. Next up, Aborted, Vault of Horrors. Aborted, such a great band. I prefer some of their earlier works to this one, but this is still, it's Aborted. It's always good. Always good. And this one delivers as well. Next up, Undeath, More Insane. The album art for this one is absolutely insane, with the head cracked open and the cool stuff going on inside her brain is just wow. This is again meat and potatoes, heavy as shit, just riff out the wazoo. Love it. Gatecreeper, Dark Superstition. This one's a bit different. Gatecreeper kind of is like a hardcore mix with a death metal, but this album in particular takes it way more melodic. It's a much different sound to the earlier Gatecreeper albums, but I find myself going back to it again and again. Yeah, it may be watered down a little bit, but it's fun, and, fuck it. It's good. It's Gatecreeper. And lastly, in the honourable mention, Skeletal Remains, Fragments of the Ageless. Skeletal Remains, one of the newer greats in death metal. Love all the previous works, and this one is no different. It might be one of the best. But there's 10 others I like more, so let's get on with them. First up, Oxygen Destroyer, Guardians of the Universe. This album is just death thrash goodness. A band based off the kaiju universe, Godzilla and all that. It's absolutely insane, but the songs, fast, thrashy, punchy, in your face, just pedal to the metal the entire way through, and there's a lot of albums like this on my list, on my top 10. This is but one of them. Death thrash, getting some recognition on this list. Next up, Knoll, As Spoken. I mentioned this in one of my albums of the month back when it came out, I think February or January. and it's stuck with me the entire year. It's just dense. It's all-encompassing. The sound is horrifying. It kind of reminds me of like a Cleese, that kind of sound, that nightmarish sound. Really heavy, kind of like a black grind kind of sound to it. Love it, and I want to listen to it again. If it sounds like Nightmare Fuel, it's because it is. Next up, Coffins Sinister O. I've got my Death Doom stuff on. Coffins, Japanese Death Doom, just masters of the trade. And this has this signature, zombified, just slow, sluggish, just riffs, brutal zombie-like vocals. I love this kind of music, and it speaks to me. It's like I'm being serenaded by a bunch of lurking corpses, and that's awesome. Next up, Civerous with Maze Envy. This is a cool album. This is growing and growing on me. Aside from the awesome album art, it's very, again, it's kind of death doomy. It flirts with funeral doom in parts as well. The vocals, cavernous. The atmosphere, palpable. It's very atmospheric. Very atmospheric album, but very heavy at parts as well. And I appreciate the yin and the yang. Love this album. Underrated. Go check it out. Next up, Spectral Voice with Sparagmos. More death doom, long songs, slow, dreary, dripping in filth. I know this style might not be for everyone, but it is for me. And Spectral Voice, they can do no wrong. Spectral Wound came out with an album this year as well. That might be on the black metal one. But yeah, Spectral Voice, great stuff. Next up, Vitriol, Suffer and Become. This is another one of those just insane albums. Heavy as anything. Not quite as dense as Knoll, but more technical, but I wouldn't say it's technical death metal. The production's a lot cleaner, but it's still heavy as hell. Like, it's still one of the greatest albums of the year. The artwork's fantastic as well. Every song just bashes you over the head with a stick made of iron barbed wire wrapped around it, and there's a bit of human flesh draping off the tip. And fucking have it. That's this album. Good stuff. Next up, of course, Ulcerate, Cutting the Throat of God. We have an Ulcerate album, dissonant, death metal. Just, if you liked the previous album, which I did, I loved it. You should see my review for it. I got the shirt straight away. It's more of the same, but that's not a bad thing. Ulcerate doesn't really miss. Every album is fantastic. Everything's fire. Everything's fire. I love every single album they've ever done, and this one is continuing the trend. Crazy, dissonant, heavy, dense, just kind of like Knoll and Vitriol and all these other bands that I really, really love. Ulcerate are masters of the trade. New Zealand's own. And yeah, I love them. Number 3, Necrot, Lifeless Birth. Oh, this is like that kind of Cannibal Corpse style death metal, which I just love. Riffs, catchy sing-along choruses, just, oh my god, it's too good. It's too good. Drill the skull. Oh, I love it. I love it. Every song, every chorus you can sing along to. Nasty, evil, chugging riffs, dripping with filth, and that's the way Daddy likes it. Alright, next up. Oh, what's going on here? Blood Incantation with Absolute Elsewhere. Oh my god. This album was like handcrafted for me, I feel like. And I gave it a 6 out of 10 recently. Yeah, it's grown on me. I've listened to it over 10 times now, and each time it's growing. It has like the influences of, a lot of people say Pink Floyd and stuff like that. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, it's in that kind of space death metal category, which I love. And I love the previous albums, aside from Time Wave Zero, was on that. But the other two, amazing. This follows on from that, but it makes it even more grandiose, even more epic. It has like these dark space-esque segments with people talking, and then the noises of space. And this is, I'm a sucker for that kind of shit. So yeah, this album is coming in my top 10. I adore it now. I adore it. It's almost a 10 out of 10 for me now. But there's one more. One more. You know what it is. Bit of technical death metal / brutal death metal with an Egyptian flair. Nile, Oh my god, Nile, the underworld awaits us all. This album has been on rotation ever since it came out. It's just one of the best Nile albums. And they're already my favourite death metal band. Like, everything is just too good. To Strike with Secret Fang. Oh, chapter of being hung upside down and made to eat feces by the 4 apes. So good. So good. The heaviness, the vocals, the harsh low guttural vocals and the high vocals. Then you got the female singing mixing in with it. I say female singing. It's just kind of like that gospel-esque choir, reminding me of Hercules when they come in. But it works so well because it's not done overbearingly. We got to cleanse the black earth. If that song isn't stuck in your head, something's wrong. But yeah, that is it. That's my 10 best death metal albums of the year so far. And like 7 honourable mentions, and another 4 honourable mentions onto that. It's been a crazy year for death metal. Absolutely has. But hopefully you enjoy some of these albums, and I've missed loads off. There's that Native American one, or the Aztec themes. That almost made it. I really like that one as well. There's too many. There's too many this year. It's ridiculous. Let me know what I've missed off. What's your favourite death metal albums of the year? And we'll see you again on another Quest for Metal.